hold discussions, debates, where questions are answered and issues are resolved. I welcome each and every one of you this very early morning in the land of Biafra. For some of you, it may be your afternoon, it may be your evening, and to some, especially those in Los Angeles, in California, I know it is your night time, but most of you are up, you're listening, you're awake. Some people are dedicated to the very lecture, to the very tutorial, to the incorruptibility of this very platform and the news we disseminate and propagate. Our job is to restore the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth by the grace of the Most High. And that is what we are going to do. That is why we remain as always incorruptible, unbribable, whiter than white and whiter than snow. And the whole world is bearing us witness. They will bear us witness this very day, because once again, this very truth, I wouldn't say it will be preached, but of course it will be discussed and digested and dissected as usual for the benefit of those who are incapable of reasoning, and of course for the advanced enlightenment of those who possess some common sense already. Once again, I welcome each and one of you. We shall pray very shortly, and then after that our lines will be open, and anybody who would like to text any message or any question across, you're more than welcome to do so. In fact, that will be our preferred option, our preferred method. I do not want any greeting. I do not wish or want anybody to dwell on the accomplishments that Chukwukikabiam has been able to wrought through us. I want you to please ask us the most difficult questions you can formulate in your brain. I want people to come here this morning, having listened to us, to go away with the impression that we know what we are doing, that we are able to answer every question honestly and intelligently. That is what we intend to accomplish this very morning. A lot is happening, and a lot will continue to happen until Biafra is restored. The one thing I can assure our enemies is that we are not going to relent. We are unstoppable. Nothing, and I repeat, absolutely nothing is going to stop us from restoring Biafra the way we intended to be, or should I say the way that Chukwukikabiam intended. We must pray this very morning, and as always, the prayer will be very short, and to underline the very fact that this very mission we have undertaken, this very effort that Chukwukikabiam has determined that we must pursue, is one that is done with the full backing, knowledge, support, and guidance from heaven itself. Therefore, we pray a very simple prayer of Yeshua, a prayer that underlines the supremacy of Chukwukikabiam in all things, the centrality of his mercy and his message upon the lives of those that believe in him, as we do here on this very platform. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on this very earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever, we pray. He said, but we are not going to forgive those who came to Enugu to kill us. We are not going to forgive murderers and terrorists who are in uniform in the land of Biafra, terrorizing and killing, raping and pillaging everywhere in our land. Before I came on air this morning, I was made aware of the tunnel in Lopuku, the land that Ochiso Kanu gave to his friends, the Janjaweed. That very land, they are digging a very massive tunnel. They are storing their weapons of war. They are being supported by the zoo police and the zoo army and every animal who is within that damnable zoological republic. And we are going to stop them. We know what they are doing. Somebody sent it to me as a question, and we are going to stop them. It is, of course, a pledge, and they know how serious we are. It is not everything we publish, not everything that we bring to the notice or attention of the public. But one thing I can assure you is that we are doing all we can to ensure that Biafra land is safe. Without us, they would have overrun Biafra. We are going to go to the first caller this very morning. Very lucky individual indeed. This very caller, if you can hear me, you're trying to reach us via Skype, your name and where you are, please. This is Radio Biafra. Go ahead. For the last time, the caller, I've just picked your call on Skype. Can you speak to her? Can you hear me? Oh, dear. The caller on Skype, can you hear me, please?
Yes, Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Please give us your name and where you're calling us from, if you may.
I'm calling you from New York.
From New York. Thank you very much. Please, and what is your name again?
What
is your name again, please? We didn't get that.
It has not been easy for us to wake up and listen to you this time of the night.
No, you're not. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? Oh my goodness, they're not paying attention. I said, give us your name again. We didn't get that very clearly. What is your name?
My name is Brian Daniel. My name is Brian Daniel Ohamadike. Brian Daniel. I'm calling you from New York.
From New York. Thank you very much. Thank you. Go ahead.
My question to you is this: what plan are you making to curtail the spread of saboteurs? The petty sabot that will go and call police and tell police this person is IPOB member, this person has something in his house. Because it is from this petty sabot that they spread right up to somebody like Dave Umai, somebody like Obiano. It is from petty sabot. And this petty sabot has made these people to be so scared, because Umahi is scared. If he leaves the seat, the level of Sabo on queue is so many that we have up to 100 Sabo who are willing to take his position. So my question to you is this: what plan do you have to curtail the spread of Sabo? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your question. And as I said yesterday, I wrote something on my page on Facebook. Of course, they are restricting it, that we know for sure. And I made it very clear that all those, that the terrorists in uniform that killed us in Enugu, they are receiving the heat right now, and they will continue to receive it. And any other stupid zoo formation, including saboteurs, anybody found, I repeat, anybody found to be aiding, supporting, or abating the Fulani Janjaweed terror conquest of our land will be dealt with accordingly. I can assure you, and I will continue to assure you that no single saboteur, those who are residing within Biafra land, those who are outside Biafra land, those who are abroad will escape the judgment and the wrath of our people. I said it before. Instead of one single saboteur to go free, it is better for Biafra not to come. Our vengeance must be upon them. Those who doubt our resolve should ask the terrorists in uniform in the zoo. They will continue to receive it very, very hot. Very, very hot. And if they like, we escalate. As long as they have it in mind to come to terrorize, to kill, to pillage, and to pave the way for Mieti and a terrorist group into our land, they will die. That's an assurance. And including Sabotua. All of them, they know now. Very soon you start to hear that. They will be behind them public in the villages. Anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, local government chairman, if you are the governor of a state, it doesn't matter if you are the PG of your community. Believe you me, any day, any single day, you go and invite our enemies to come into our land to terrorize us, who will hang you in the nearest street house. As an example for others to learn from. We're not going to spare them. That I can assure you, we are not going to spare them. Thank you very much for that. I have another caller who happens to be on the line. This caller also on Skype. Give us your name and where you're calling from and your question, please. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I can no longer hear them. I can no longer hear them. I I have a caller also on Skype. Can you hear me? Unbelievable. They do not pay attention. They are not listening. But we will educate them to teach them. If you call us, please endeavor to switch off your listening device. Very, very important. The caller on the line, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
This is Nwanko Kichuku. I'm calling from Abia State.
Thank you very much. Yes. You're calling from about this nonsense about Abia State and Enugu State. I don't like it. It irritates me. It's a continuation of the colonial relic of giving people names that are not original, names that couldn't possibly stand 100 years ago. You are from Aba. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Yes. Mazi, I want to thank you so much for your contributions in making sure that we restore BIAFRA land. I'm very, very happy, but woe to those who are saboteurs, who are working assiduously to make sure that BIAFRA will not come. Curse shall be upon them forever and ever. You see, Mazi, I ask God to continue strengthening you people, those of you who are working to make sure that we are secured, we are restored. My prayers all over the night, every morning, is may Chukwu Abiyama to continue to inspire you people to make sure at the last we will achieve BIAFRA. That is why I called. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very, very much. Insofar as, or in as much as I appreciate the goodwill, the felicitations, the heartfelt greetings of our people, I would suggest that the world is listening. People are not tuning in to Radio Biafra this very morning to hear people say that they're praying for us. That is not what they want to hear. They want to hear questions pertaining to the restoration of Biafra, any issues or difficulties, please, so that those who are listening might be able to learn. This is not a place for greeting. I don't want any greeting from anybody. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and you go straight to the point, ask those questions, or have this debate with us if you want to, because we are also here to debate, please. I don't want people calling us and just greeting. I'm not doing anything with your greeting, please. I also pray for all of you 7 times every blessed day, please. I am not here to announce that. What I want you to do, please, is to give us your name, where you're calling from, and then you ask us your question, or you give us a suggestion. Please go ahead. The caller on the line, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, your name and where you're calling.
Hello, can you hear me now? Very well, my name is Chinedu from Sweden.
Chinedu from Sweden. Please go ahead. What is your question?
Question is this. First of all, just quick felicitation. You're doing a wonderful job. I don't know how you strength. May God continue to strengthen you. My one is this. Since our problem is international, that is, people holding us back is not actually Fulani. It's actually Britain. I ask, it's not better for us, all Igbos in diaspora, to agitate, to go on procession, march the streets of Europe, so that the world will actually hear us. Because what they're doing down home, they're just killing them for nothing. But if we make, let's say, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 march in Germany, in London, the world will hear us. That's what I'm suggesting. Because this is getting too long. People are losing hope. People are dying. And I don't think those people are being killed in Enugu or in Onisha. People, the world are not hearing anything from us. Nobody is hearing anything. It's just being killed for nothing. That's what I want to contribute. Let us move in Europe. Everybody on the streets. If one person is killed, like what happened in George Floyd situation. The George Floyd procession shook the whole world. And the whole world heard it. No one heard us.
Because the church procession, my dear brother, you're right. You're right. But we've been protesting in Europe. The thing is that if the why you heard about Lloyd, because CNN covered it. They think it will play very badly for Trump at the U.S. Election, at the polls coming up in a few weeks' time. You heard about Lloyd George because BBC carried it. You heard about Lloyd George because Al Jazeera carried it. I'm sure, perhaps, I don't know for you, for most of us, there was no large rally or protest march around where we live. But we heard about it. It resonated all over the world because the lamestream media decided to carry it. It suited their purpose, so they carried it. We've been protesting. And I will tell you something that this morning that most people do not know. When Trump became the president-elect in the year 2016, our people went to Trump Tower to go and see him. We had our flag, our memorabilia as somewhere where we do things. IPOB in New York, IPOB in New York organized it. And we went to Trump Tower to go and, of course, do what every other group, every other interest group was doing at the time. Do you know that CNN was outside Trump Tower in New York? And as soon as they saw Biafra and Biafran flag, the man pointed his camera downwards. And one of us went to him, I think it was Esek Wesley that went to him and asked him why he pointed his camera downwards. Do you know what this white man said? The white cameraman for CNN. You know, he said, I don't want to lose my job. And then he asked him, but you've been here, people coming in and going all this while. What is so special about that you don't want to show us? He said, no, I do not want to lose my job. Show you on the screen. If they see Biafra on the screen, if they see your flag on the screen, I will lose my job. A white person in New York. Ask yourself, ordinary BBC Igbo, ordinary I said because it's been run by Fulani people and some recruited. Ordinary BBC Igbo, for your information, the killing of our people that happened in Enugu. They couldn't carry it. These are people that Igbo. This was happening in Enugu. They are there. Their support, of course, their headquarters is in Lagos. That tells you how foolish they are. They couldn't carry it. Most of the stations we have in our land did not carry it, only brave ones. All those that depend on a political master who is a slave to a Fulani Janjaweed in the north did not carry that very news. It's not, of course, we protest. It's not that we cannot march on the streets. Of course, we do on the street. But once there is grand conspiracy against you, there is very limited space for you to send your message to the rest of the world. But I can assure you very soon, the world we understand, we know what to do, and the world will start asking questions. That is what we are doing right now, and that's what we're going to continue doing until they now come to us to say, what is going on, tell us what is wrong. We know what to do. Now we are doing it. They are killing of our people in Enugu have now told us what to do, and that thing we are doing and doing very well. And believe you me, the zoo is in one almighty mess. That I can assure you. Thank you very, very much for your call. I welcome it. As I said, please, I don't need any greetings. I don't need any thanks. Go straight to the point. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. The caller on Skype, the world is listening. Good morning to you, please. Thank you.
My name is Uchenna Ogu. I'm calling from South Africa.
From South Africa. Go ahead, please.
Yes, my question straight to you this morning is I want to ask you, do we have some doctors who can treat people who have a gunshot in Biafra Valley in case we start
Hello? He's asking us if we have doctors that can treat gunshot wounds, and the answer is yes. And there are some things that some of our people do not understand, and I will explain it this morning. Thank you for your question. We do have doctors. Some of them are conscientious. Some of them do understand their obligation to their people. Some of them understand and adhere to the medical, the oath of medical ethics that they took before they started their practice as doctors. But some of our people are scared. Some of the doctors in our land are terrified. Some of them are cowards. Even though the Janjaweed police have come out to say you can treat gunshot victims, there are some doctors of Biafran extraction who are still afraid. People don't know how cowardly our people have become. If not for IPOB, people don't understand that our people are living under bondage. Our people are scared. You go to an office in Abuja and you speak a Biafran language, be it Igbo, Efik, or Ibibio, to somebody, and they will respond to you in English. People don't know the mess we are in. Sometimes we underestimate, and especially people who are born outside Biafra land. They don't know what being Biafran. They grew up beside people, Rabiu or Mustafa, beside one Janjaweed. They don't know all they are thinking. Imagine somebody who trains to be a doctor from the north. Maybe he was raised in Kanu. There's either seen a riot or he's seeing his people killed all around him. No police case, nobody's being held responsible or accountable for it. Nothing is happening. So he grew up or she grew up in fear. The truth of it is that Biafrans are growing up in a climate of fear and intimidation. They now have fear as part and parcel of their essence. Once they, in fact, to the point where they see doing something nice for their people, they will be thinking to themselves, how would a Janjaweed, the Fulani man, see this? Anything that they can fathom in their brain, any conduct of theirs, any behavior of theirs, they see or they construe as being inimical to a Fulani interest, they shy away from it. That is something I need you to understand this very morning and for people to know as well. Our people are growing up in a climate of fear. Parents are raising up their children to become cowards and subservient to the Fulani Janjaweed. That is why a police officer, a Biafran police officer, an Igbo man who is in Lagos as a policeman, even in Enugu, will support the killing of his own people. But that same officer will go out and cannot arrest a Fulani headsman. That tells you that our people from 1970 to the time that IPOB came, our people became, and given the weighty, or should I say the lack of the leadership in our land, given what Ohaneze is doing, given what your governors and political leaders, apart from Apari. Now you can see that people grew up in a climate of fear. If treating a gunshot victim will annoy a Fulani police officer, let me not do it. These are people in the villages. These are the things that our people don't quite appreciate and understand. People need to come to the realization of the enormity of the work that IPOB has done and will continue to do for our people. We are removing that fear, that morbid fear that we have within us, that anything that will annoy a Fulani man, we shouldn't do it. Even if the Fulani man is not there. Most of the doctors that refuse to treat gunshot victims in Enugu, there was no Fulani police officer around, but they are scared because some of us raise our children to become cowards in the zoo. And that is the nonsense we are putting to an end. And we must continue to do so. I have another caller who happens to be on Skype. Give us your name and where you're calling from, please. Good morning to you, please. Your name and where you're calling us from, if you may.
I am Mazi from Johannesburg.
From Johannesburg as well. The second caller today from South Africa. Please go ahead.
There's a question I have here.
Ask it.
Like from one of your previous broadcasts, you said that you need about 100 men of Biafra land to join you in this program.
Yes.
So I've been wondering within myself then, trying to know what kind of men are these men that you need.
The type of men we need are those who are pure at heart, loving Biafra with all their being, willing to sacrifice anything sacrificable for the restoration and the sustenance of Biafra. People who will gladly give anything, I say anything to ensure that Biafra is restored. And I have a shocking news for you. In all the years that we have been agitating for the freedom of our people, I have not found up to 15 people who are the way that we are, who are willing to sacrifice everything sacrificable to make sure that Biafra is restored, without enmity, without rancor, without greed, without jealousy, without any personal interest. We have been fighting for years. I'm telling you, in all my life, I have not come across up to 15 people that will do anything for Biafra. Never have not. And Chukwukika Biama said, until there are 100 of you, nothing will happen. I need minimum 100 of you that can dedicate and give anything for Biafra, and then you see Biafra come. Then we are pushing for that and praying for that. And this year, we are going to make very serious inroads, that I can assure you. If you are one of those who are prepared, I want you to, the analogy, the simplest analogy is like the disciple of Yeshua in the New Testament. Yeshua said to them, must abandon everything. Everything, even those of you who are fishers of men, you must abandon everything you're doing and come and follow this very gospel. Come and join this very gospel. That is the mindset of people we need to have. It doesn't matter how poor you are, how wealthy you are. You must be prepared. I'm not asking you in the physical to abandon everything, but in the spirit, your mindset has to be such that you are willing and to abandon everything in life and to sacrifice anything, sacrifice to get Biafra. That is the 100 we're talking about. So there are some people who serve IPOB in various capacities. We have officers, both junior and senior. That doesn't mean they meet this criteria. This criteria is meant for the, let me not say it like that, when the time comes, you know. And thank you very much for your question. I welcome it and I love it. Thank you very, very much. If you have called us before, I do strongly recommend that you do not call us again. Please do not call us if you are a regular caller. I will not take your call. Do not call us, please. Allow other people to try and get through. Some have been trying for very many years to speak live on this very program. Allow them to be able to do so, please. I have a caller who happens to be on the line. Please dispense with the greetings. I want you to give us your name and where you are from, please. Can you hear me? The caller who is on Skype, can you hear me? No, they cannot hear me. They are taking time. They cannot hear me. The caller on Skype, can you hear me? Yes, please. Your name and where you are.
Mazi, good morning. My name is Nnamdi. I've been following you for a long time on Facebook, and maybe you have been seeing a lot of my posts. So, and it has taken me a long time to reach you on phone today. So my question is just, let me know where time is. There are
Where are you coming from?
Yeah, I'm coming from Germany.
From Germany, please go ahead.
So, a lot of problem here in Germany in our IPOB family,
yes.
Which I said that if I will have opportunity talking to you privately, it will be a very
What sort of problem
discussion.
do you have? Let's put it out in the public domain. What sort of problem do you, because if you watch something in secret and it's not clean, you watch it in the public. My linen is dirty, and if I keep washing it in, I can never get it to be clean. If I wash it in public and it will be clean, then I wash it in public. What are the issues you're having? Because I know that Collins is our new national coordinator in Germany and things are moving very well. Issues are you having where you are?
Yeah, because I'm living in a province in Germany that is called Bremen. So we have been having a problem coordinating ourselves together here in Germany. So because
not in Germany, you can say in Bremen, not in Germany. Because I recall a few months ago, Germany, country in the whole world. Of course, they fell apart, and now Italy has taken over. So I don't know. Are you talking about Bremen? Or are you talking about the whole of Germany? I don't want you to nationalize a local in Germany. Are you having issues in Bremen, or are you having issues in the whole of Germany?
We're having issues in Bremen, not in the whole of Germany.
Exactly. That's what you should say. Please go ahead. What is happening in Bremen? Tell us. What is going on in Bremen?
The problem was we were discussing about having a demonstration here, which will take place on the 12th of this month. And there was a time I was asking them questions because I'm a member. So why is it that when we are having something as a family, but other parts of Germany don't know about what we are doing? This was just my question, which I was asking my coordinator. So, and they were telling me there were a problem in Berlin that they don't want to register women to be among the IPOB family in Germany here. So it was a very critical issue, but I think maybe they resolved it now already. I don't know. We are having a meeting tomorrow too where I will be attending, and I will just find out tomorrow if this issue has been resolved. Because my own idea was, if there is anything we are doing in Germany, every part of Germany have to know about it. Because I was telling my people that, let me just say what I want to add to this very issue is just, I will bring it out in this very occasion now. It's just that we have to start assisting you on our own ways. We don't always have to wait when you say something before we do, because I'm even telling them we can write letters. We can go to different offices, foreign agencies here in Germany to discuss about our problem, to discuss about this very issue, agitation we are agitating for Biafra. But nobody is taking it to this length. We are just about meeting every weekend or Saturdays, discussing issues on how to help people. These are not our problem, discussing issues on how to help people. We have to discuss on how to liberate ourselves from that very contraption they call Nigeria, but not on how to help people who are sick or who are injured or whatsoever. So my own issue is just that, according to what the question people were asking you already today, the kind of people you need who can support you. We have a lot of people who can support, but they are not in the position to come to that very level that you can know these people. There are a lot of hidden people, which even to get you on phone, they can't get you on phone. I've been talking to a lot of people. I've talked to, I think, what they call them, somebody Chimis here, and other people in England. I have called them and tried to know if I can reach you to say some certain things we are having as problem that is holding us back in this very struggle.
Now, thank you very much for that. Thank you for that. And well spoken. Thank you very much. And let me assure you that in a mass movement of this size, it's always very difficult. But I'm sure that the issues you've raised, I will make sure that our national coordinator in Germany, Collins, is aware of it, and that something will be done in Bremen. And let me advise you again about advice and suggestions as well. Some of the suggestions you have, they are very valid. The advice you're offering a family in Bremen is all very valid. But if your advice is not taken immediately, then it shouldn't become a cause for rebellion or a cause for people to no longer to trust their leadership or to work with the leadership that they have. It is about persuasion, making your arguments as you have just marshaled now persuasively. I'm sure anybody who heard what you've just said will be moved by, the very weighty contribution that you've had to make. But let me make this very clear to our people. Those who are in positions of authority, they have or they receive advice from different quarters every blessed day, hundreds and sometimes thousands. It is almost, it is not feasible for you to attend or to implement every advice that you. The same thing is applicable to your coordinator in Bremen. The same thing is applicable to the national coordinator we have in Germany. So what I would like you to do is we must find a way to persuade those who influence with the strength, the validity, and the depth of our argument. Not when you give advice to somebody, don't say, we don't know what they're doing, I'm living here. No, it doesn't work that way. You must continue to advise until it gets to some of us. And then the decision will be taken. Right now, you've just said this. The decision will be taken to make sure we reorientate our people, not just in Bremen or in Germany, but all over the world. That your job as a national coordinator, your job as a zonal coordinator, a regional coordinator, is to make sure that the politicians where you are aware of what you're doing. To make sure that the local newspapers where you are aware of what you're doing. And you should protest, you should go out on the street to agitate, you should go and evangelize, do all of these things. They are the reason why you are there. The issue of taking care of those who are injured is also valid. But we have our welfare, we have our legal department, we are doing that already. I want our people all over the world to focus on two things. Making sure that the local population where you are and the politicians are aware of what is happening to us, making sure they receive all the materials and information about what the Janjaweed, the Fulani terrorists are doing to our people, and to also alert the local newspapers. Forget about the CNN and the BBCs of this world. Go to your local newspaper, as some are doing in South Africa, as some have done in the USA. Go to your local newspaper. Even walk into their offices yourself. Say, my people are being killed. Show them the videos and the pictures of what transpired in Enugu. Speak to a local reporter where you are. Speak to a local mayor where you are. Speak to even your councillors where you are. You will be shocked that they will go and they'll be discussing it. That is why the zoo always panics and to say that we are convincing the world as to the terrorist nature of governance in the Zoological Republic. What you said, my dear brother, is very valid, taking it on board, and it will form the basis of what we do all over the world. It is no use being a coordinator just for the sake of it. It doesn't matter where you are, even if you're a coordinator in the Zoological Republic. What I would like you to go to speak to a local journalist, speak to local people, tell them this is what is happening. Share the news, the very horrible news of all the terrorist atrocities happening in our land, the abduction of our mothers, the raping of our sisters. These are the things that the world want to hear. Not just somebody answering a coordinator or sitting down somewhere, you're not doing anything. I want you, even if you are in Indonesia, I want you to go and make sure that the local politicians where you are understand the reason why we are in Indonesia. I want them to understand what is happening to us, that we are victims of Fulani terrorism supported by Britain. We must make this very compelling case because they have all the money in the world, they have all the rich in the world. Mind you that Britain is working for them. Britain wants everybody to be Islamized. You must understand that very clearly. Therefore, we must work 2 times harder than our enemies. And that means that each and every one of us, it is not, you don't have to wait until you become a coordinator or you become an officer before you do something. You can bring in a suggestion and say, I am going on nobody can stop you from going out on a protest. Nobody can stop you from going out to sensitize your local senator or your local councillor. Nobody can stop you from doing that. You are at liberty to do that, please. At liberty to do that if you want to. And of course, I'm encouraging all of you to do that, please. Very, very important. Thank you very much for your call. Today, we are receiving very good calls, which is true. I will also caution and want people to dispense with all the greetings, please. I do not need it. I don't need the greetings. Very, very important, please. We do not need any greetings this morning. Just go straight to the point. Go straight to the point, please, and tell us what you would like to tell us. Once again, our lines are open. I'm even terrified to open our main line because I know that once I do now, it will crash once again. It will crash. There are loads and loads of people to get through to us. I have a caller on the line on WhatsApp, rather. Give us your name and where you're calling from. We are Radio BIAFRA. Go ahead. Can you hear me? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Please, your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from Africa. My name is Oju Abai.
Abai, thank you very much.
I am calling because of the fear in our people. Something happened last week in Owerri Airport, that Simon Bagwell Cargo Airport.
Yes.
Where the uniform men, they are just 3 boys. Captive like 200 vehicles online contain money because when you knock 10 o'clock, that is their source of money. They start collecting everybody. But the road is bombed. The road is not good. Nothing is anybody that pass the other side, they stop the person. They stop like 2 cars, they start collecting keys. These people have no badge. Do you know that they stopped me too? They stopped some of us. You know, when they reach to the RG, they ask them to bring the key. The man opens for them. The guard to open the other. He can't do anything. You see that the man outside is a northern man. He collect the key. But all the Igbos were afraid to submit like key. Some of them were wounded. Some of them to retrench. Somebody say, no, they start coming. They will kill you. So this, I don't know how this madness, because that is the only thing I see hold us. If we can mind that any soldier with the uniform, with that name in the gun, they can get him down. Anywhere in this way, they will start thinking themselves. But we don't have men. We don't have people to back up. How can we do this in the road? I don't know. Because they from my people, a lot of them was only mouth. I tell them that and make these people to know that this is our place. They cannot, we don't know their name, even but they wounded many us, many boys there, which nobody can stand.
Listen, listen. What you've raised is the day reality on the ground. That was why during my last broadcast, I said that the present crop of leadership we have in the entire Biafra land is the very worst you've ever had as a people. Listen, people learn and follow their leaders. That IPOB is fearless and formidable today is perhaps because of the grace that Chukwukabiyama gave to some of us who are leading this very movement to be fearless of our enemies. That is why IPOB is fearless. But if you get the likes of Ohanese and your politicians and they are your leaders, have set the stage for fear and submissiveness to fully danger with terror, what do you expect from the people? I'm saying the reason why we are in this one is that we have a generation of people that grew up in trepidation, in fear of Fulani terrorism. They see a Fulani soldier and they start to wee in their pants, I'm telling you. They start to panic. They start to... And let me say this. They have who stopped all the travelers that landed at the airport, Samubako Airport in Owerri. They were held up by Fulani terrorists in uniform. Very soon there will be no roadblocks in our land. If they mount a roadblock, destroy it. Very, very soon. Let's finish with them Nuku first. Then we'll come to that one. Very soon, this very janjaweed you see today, you shall see them no more. It's incremental. We are coming very slowly because if we run faster than our shadows, the world will blame us. We want them to give us the reason and the excuse to do the things that we are going to do and the things that we are about to do. That the world, this news that you hear that CNN is carrying, they will carry it by force. I can assure you, they will report Biafra very, very soon. The same way we said to them, we will not pay you when you talk about Biafra. They are doing very soon. You see all the problems that we are going through. The world will be forced to discuss it and to know about it. We know what to do, and we are doing that. Those in Enugu can testify. The terrorists in uniform in Enugu can tell you more. I'm not going to tell you anything, but they will use their mouth to tell you what is happening to them. The same thing like points and the roadblocks. Very, very soon you will not see any on our land. And having said that, you will also understand that as we are removing the roadblocks from our roads, and we catch doing kidnapping will be taken out. No kidnapping either. No armed robbery and no criminality. We know that things are very difficult. We know that there are no jobs. People are finding things difficult. That is why we are doing all we can with the IPOB to restore Biafra, so people can have jobs, so that our sisters, so that we can stop even marrying outsiders and come marry our sisters back home. These are the things I'm doing. These are the things we are going to do. In the course of removing the roadblocks and checkpoints in our land, if we catch anybody doing robbery, doing kidnapping, doing cyber work, being a traitor, you are finished. You are gone. We are sending it as a note of warning that the world may know. I had a caller on the line. They've been waiting very patiently. I don't know if they're still there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, Mazi.
Thank you. Calling is from Hamburg in Germany. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Mazi, there is one question I want to ask. It's been a long time I've never heard from George Onibe. Please, I think George Onibe, we are missing him a lot. Please tell him to be coming on air. I'm missing him a lot. George Onibe. It's been a long time I have never heard from him. My name is Tony. Mazi, that is one question. The second question is somebody that called. There is somebody that called that we need democracy. We need to march in Europe. Hamburg, we want to march. Even if the white people want to stop us, let them
bless you too. Regarding the issue of our presenters on Radio Biafra, things happen from time to time. There are rotations, there are duties, and do not also forget that George Onibe is also Africa rep. So he has other duties and other considerations as well. I very understand that. But according to what you've been saying, all of them saying this morning, nobody's stopping anybody from marching. After all, our Southeast Regional Coordinator in the UK, Uzwaka, used to organize rallies and marches. You don't need permission from anybody to go and to do rally. You don't need permission from me or from your coordinator. You can gather people in your zone, your little unit, and decide to go and do evangelism. To decide to go and march outside. Nobody is going to stop you. Nobody whatsoever is going to stop you. So these are the things you ought to understand. Please, thank you very, very much for that. We are live and we are direct and the whole world is listening. Let us go to this line again to see who is there. The caller on this line, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning. Mazi Nnamdi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Please, your name and where you're calling from?
My name is calling from Spain.
Your name is what? We didn't get your name. What is your name again? You're calling from Spain, yes, but what is your name?
My name is Uju.
Uju. I thought Uju is a lady's name. You're answering Uju. You are the problem. Uju is. Are you Obian Uju? Is Obian Uju your name?
No, Obian Uju, yes, correct.
Hey, but it's a woman's name now.
I can easily summarize it to you. If you want to speak in Igbo, then speak in Igbo.
Please do summarize for us. Let us understand. Summarize for us. Let us understand, please. We are being educated.
Okay. Can Igbo?
No, very briefly, just to explain your name. Only to explain your name. You're speaking, after all, you're in Spain. The Spain you're in, do you speak Igbo to them? You speak English, I'm sure, or Spanish, or Panya, as they call it. Please explain to me why you are answering Obian Uju. Obian Uju is a woman's name. Why are you answering Obian Uju? I want to know.
Very good. Why I answered Obian Uju? And also let me tell you my surname so you know it fully. My surname is Obian Uju. I'm from Anambra State, Oka, from Mbapo. Okay?
Yes.
So my coming out of Obian Uju is that my father married 3 wives. Yes. And he had so many sons before me.
Yes.
And by then, before he gave birth to me, I will not speak more, but God blessed him in abundantly. God blessed him so much.
Yes.
And what makes him to give me Obian Uju is that he is the only son of his parents, only son.
Mm-hmm.
And when he get married, mm-hmm. he gave his first birth was a woman, a lady. Mm-hmm. That's my senior, my half sister, the senior one. Mm-hmm. So after then, he started giving a birth. Second one was also a lady that came as a son, the first son of the whole family. Okay, so now even more and more sons and daughters. So within all that period, and the way things it is, he's one of the people that lost his houses in Port Harcourt during the BIAFRA war and all that.
In Igbocha, so not Port Harcourt, in Igbocha.
Yeah, in Igbocha, correct. In Igbocha, yeah. So during that period, God, that's the time that I came to the world, and God opened more door for him. So he now look around. He said there's nothing else he needs in his life that God has not done for him. So that he have to give me this question that he asked. So many of our community people asking that question. He said, let them look around what is going on. It's left and right.
You brought luck and you brought good fortune to your father. I know that is the meaning. Yes. It's a good thing. It's a good thing you brought good fortune, because I know the ladies that answer Obian Uju, they only come when the rice has been prepared, when there is upstairs, when there is everything, when the father has bought everything. Then they give birth to the girl. They call her Obian Uju. But the man that is bearing Obian Uju is when you were born, that opened doors for your father for things to come in. But for the girls will only come when everything has been prepared.
Yeah, that is how I made my own. And even that period, my father bought so many. He had like a transporter business.
Yes, a transportation company. Yes, it was a transporter. Yes.
Yeah, it was a transporter. So both big, in a brand new car, not the Tukumba what we are doing today.
Yes.
In what we call Tia Rubber. Yes. So that's how it comes. And he never called me my English name. And I don't normally use my English name. So when I say my name is Uju in a short way, my name is Uju. And I'm so proud of bearing that name.
It's a nice name.
That period. So that period, my father, in fact, he loves me so much and I love him for that. So that's how I come and
please make your point. Go ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
My dear, I don't want to say many stories and all that because I know when you came to Spain and all that, and people that you mentioned their name, I know them in person and well on that. My major trouble that hit my heart every day, I listen to everybody that talks about Biafra until when I found out that person is not speaking what we are preaching, I turn off. So now, I don't know if it's okay saying it in public or not, but many people have touched it. And you are preaching, even this morning when you talk about politician, my major trouble and what I want to ask you is possible, because those who can do it, where those people is. My question or my suggestion, since we all know that these politicians back home are one of our problems, my dear, I do hear how many our people say we are prepared. That is, those who in diaspora, those who in the Western world, the volunteers and all that, they can go back, which I'm among them. But there's what I want to ask you, if it's possible to implement. So we can start it here. So you will now see that this thing is not a matter of calling and talking. We can now start doing it. That thing is that I'm so because I know it's a question of suggestion. English is not my native dialect. So what I'm suggesting, or you say a question, or any way you want to take it, to the son and daughter of all our politicians, I mean all our Biafran politicians, 90 or all of them are studying in diaspora, especially in UK and other parts of America, for example. Is it possible that the member, those who say that they are called IPOB, that they are ready, is it possible that we, that in diaspora, especially those where they are studying, because if I'm not mistaken, I listened to one guy called Onye from Enugu doing a program. He said, if I'm not mistaken, I'm starting to be correct. He said the son or daughter of Ojusokalo or Abo Hausa, they are studying in Manchester. Then where I'm going is that is it possible that we can go and pick them and use them as that sacrifice that they are using our people back home as a sacrifice. So when is it that they're hitting their son or daughters in Europe, in the Western world, by then, them being back home there, you will wake up and you will listen to the people of the other IPOB member back home on the ground there. So let us slaughter their own son, daughter and son that they use that evil money to sponsor in the Western world to study. So if you think of it that it's okay, then let's give it up that those who are close to them, because there's so many ways of trapping them down, and we know the law of where we are living to say that everything goes wrong. But my point is that to keep killing their daughter and son, that is where I'm going to. And when they move out to that, maybe politician, their father or their mother, when they come out from that evil country, that hellfire, if we have the chance to bring them down, to do it. So we can be able to show them that this is more than serious. Because those who they have been killing for so many years, not even what happened in Yemen, is 3 months. So let us use their own blood as an example, so they will know that there's nowhere to run to, both in Africa and Europe.
Thank you.
That's what I have to.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Obianuju, if I can say that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the contribution. The thing is this, and I want our people to understand this very, very clearly. We are not like the zoo. We are not going to go after people who are innocent. Some of them may not support what their parents are doing. And in this new Biafra we are building, everybody is answerable for his or her actions. These people that we are talking about may turn out to be the engineers and the scientists we need tomorrow in Biafra land. The history of their parents would not be our sense of judgment to the extent where we now either exclude them or remove them from the scheme of affairs. No. A politician who is found guilty will be held accountable for his or her actions. They are innocent and they shall remain so. So also are their parents. We are only concerned about those who would come out to say that they are going to sabotage what we are doing. Those people, they are fair game. I'm sure that even despite coronavirus, most of them will not be attending New Yam Festival in the coming years to come. Of course, there will be Biafra. So thank you very much for that, Ben. You raised a very important. People are very upset. People are very, very angry. And I have somebody on the line. I don't know if they're still there. If they are, please, your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning to you, please. Your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Ian Chukwulibu. I'm calling from Germany. Hanover.
Hanover. Thank you very much, please.
Mazi, I was listening. I just heard one of our brothers from Bremen complaining that when Bremen are doing matches that other part of Germany don't know about it. I don't know what's happening in Bremen, but I just want to chip in that here in Hanover, we know that Bremen is doing matches. Actually, we are going in mass to support them. So I don't know why he's saying Bremen is doing something and other people don't know about it. Actually, just last Sunday, we had a meeting and preparing for that match for that evangelism on the 12th for Bremen. From Hanover, we are going there. So I just want to put that across so he knows. I don't know, like I heard you told that because he advised he shouldn't just go out, he should wait. So I don't know if he knows what the leaders are doing, but I want to assure him that Hanover knows that Bremen is matching and we are going in mass as well.
Thank you very much for this clarification, my dear. But thank you very, very much. I am impressed. Thank you for that clarification. I have another caller on the line. This caller, can you hear me? Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Okay, good morning, sir, my leader.
Good morning to you.
My name is Mazi from Enugu State, in Biafra land.
And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Benin Republic.
From Benin Republic, please go ahead.
Okay. My question is, we have already lost more than 5 million votes.
Yes.
And the terrorists still killing us. So, to lose them, I don't know how many there are, since those politicians in Igbo land, like governors or Hanendoshi or whatever they call themselves, even all those saboteurs in our land, don't care. Why can't you give an order to finish them so that we can get what we want? Because most of our problem is from them.
Yes, we are not going to, because some of them will be tried. It's only those we find working with the enemy, those we meet at the war front will fall. But all of them will be tried. The reason why people go to courts, we don't know this. The reason why the white man said, or even our ancestors said, not only must justice be done, but that justice must be seen to be done, is that those who are living may learn from it. So we are going to get some of this. Those of them, as I said, we are praying for them to repent. Maybe tomorrow they will repent and even be more vocal about Biafra restoration and freedom more than myself. But as long as they do not repent and we enter into Biafra, as long as they don't repent and work with the enemy, then they will go down. They will. As what is now happening to the zoo, they understand it now that we are very, very, they've always known we are serious anyway. But our intention has now made very clear. And as I said, no saboteur will go free. We cannot. The reason why we are going through this nonsensical phase now, also everywhere, was because after the war, let me tell you what happened after the war. After losing that very war, and our hands were very clean. There is a song we used to listen to in those days after the war called Nkosimwam or Bugini Guinea. But go and listen to it very well. It's an old song. I don't even know if people can find it anymore. Our people were traumatized after the war. The trauma was not out of the defeat of the war or the loss of the war or the conspiracy that Britain that gave us Anglican Church, gave us Bible, sided with Islam to kill us. That wasn't the problem. Our people, our fathers, our grandfathers, our mothers, we are reflecting after the war. They kept asking themselves, are you sure there is God in heaven? Because all through the years and millennia of our existence as a people, we always believe that God will reward the righteous. And there is a saying where we come from, because we did nothing wrong. Let me tell you how our people reason. Because we did nothing wrong before God and before man, and we suffered such a loss, such a genocidal, the trauma was so much, our people started asking God, that we have done nothing wrong. What did we do? Why was it that you allowed this thing to happen to us? We did nothing wrong. Understand this very well. That is how our people were conditioned to reason and to behave for thousands of years. That if you've done nothing wrong can happen to you. We believe in the law of karma. Because we went into that war having not done anything wrong to anybody. And the world ganged up against us. Our people started asking after the war, but what did we do? Who did we offend? Did we offend Britain? Did we stop sending our money to Canterbury? Did we stop wearing cassock in the church on Sundays and praying for... We used to pray for Queen Elizabeth. Even if you go to the old prayer book, it's still there till today. They pray for the Queen. Our people became traumatized. And it took them many years to come out of that trauma. That trauma, IPOB brought them out of it from the year 2013, 2014 till now. That trauma they were suffering. So when they started imposing criminals on us, starting from Biasika, Kemachikwe, all these criminals, all these breed, all these ravenous criminals that they call politicians, we did not react on time. Do you understand? So that when Oba Biasika was leaving office, Oba Biasika was replaced by another Janjaweed trained traitor. You go to where they call Niger Delta, which shouldn't exist. We are so traumatized that when they were cutting off Igbo villages and putting them in Cross River, putting them in Benue Plateau, we never said anything. Out of that fear, that trauma, we are still suffering till, some of them are suffering to this very day. Out of that trauma, Ebema you see in Imo State was cut into three. There is one Ebema in Delta, one Ebema in Rivers, and another Ebema in Imo. The Ebema in Delta, the Ebema in Imo are called Niger Delta. But the same family, the same people. Due to the trauma of the war, even when Ohanese was founded in 1976, they became paralyzed with fear because they can't understand. When you're beating a child and that child is crying, your next door neighbor will come at least ask you, please stop beating that child. That child hasn't done anything, too horrible to you. When Britain organized the genocidal, the wipeout of our race, the whole world was watching. And when you are a people that are so old and so ancient that your decision making is informed by your value system. Our value system is that if you've done nothing wrong should happen to you. We did nothing wrong. And the same Britain that came and gave us English names, gave us churches and all this rubbish, presided over our slaughter. Our people spent decades being traumatized. That was when fear grew in us. We now became a repository of fear of Fulani Janjaweedism. That fear carried on into the NBA. That is why if you stop El Rufai from speaking at NBA, they can form their own group. But Onogen was removed and nothing happened. And you go back to Iguacha, you go back to Ogoni, you go back to Izon. Those of them who were at the front line of treachery during the war, they are their leaders today. Like Edwin Clark. Edwin Clark is an old man. I won't insult him. But he was evil. Edwin Clark, you're looking at now, leading Pandef, was at the forefront. He was a frontline saboteur. That is why, from that part of the world, you see a conveyor belt of sabot coming out all the time. Because those who are in the positions of power and leadership were once rewarded traitors who made good money from their treachery. Now, do you understand how it was? We became cowards. They now started giving us leaders who are cowards, leaders who are afraid. And because our leaders are afraid, can you imagine? Your sons and daughters are being slaughtered, and you are a political leader, you say nothing. Now, imagine what somebody in Sokoto is going through. Being harassed by a Fulani Janjaweed, they will have no mouth to talk. When a Fulani police commissioner is killing you, maybe in Plateau State, maybe in Nasarawa, they will say, after all, your leaders cannot talk. I can kill you all I like. They cannot speak. Now, do you understand it? That is what is happening. I have a caller on the line. You have been waiting very patiently. Please give us your name and where you are, please. The caller on the line, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, they cannot hear me. They are incapable of hearing what I'm saying. I do hope they come back and participate. I have another caller who happens to be on Skype on the other line. Give us your name and where you are, please. The caller on WhatsApp, your name and where you are, please. Good morning to you. And raise your voice for me, please. Your name and where you're calling from, and your question, please.
Yes, my director. Good morning. My name is Aki. Hello. Can you hear me, my friend?
Of course. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. Please, I want to appreciate what you are doing. I just have a question to ask, although it sounds funny.
Your name and where you're calling from, first of all, please.
Okay, I'm calling from Belgium.
And your name? Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is based on these saboteurs. You know, I found out that about 4 of them or 5 of them are mentally ill. So how are we going to do them? Are we going to also treat them like others, or they will have the special treatment, sir?
Those like Joey Boko we know are mentally deranged. They will go to a mental home. We have hospitals for mental patients. People like Joey Boko that was talking about our marginalization before and went as far as saying that we will even carry guns if need be. And then went back and became commissioner for Gota in Lagos State. You know, people like that we know have certified mental problem. Then they will go to psychiatric homes. We will put them in hospitals because you cannot try them and kill them for the simple reason that they're not with their faculties. Their brain is not correct. So people like that will be in a mental home. That's what we're going to do. Those who we find not to be well will be in mental homes. Then those that we know are normal. They knew what they were doing. They are warriors of this world. Then they will be tried and they will be hanged in public. They will be tried and they will be hanged in public. I have another caller who happens to be on the line. I don't know if that caller can hear me, please. The caller on the line, your name and where you are, please. This is Radio Biafra. I have taken your call, your name and where you are, if you can hear me. No.
I can hear Mazi, my leader, Awaka Buchonwa.
Mazi from Mozambique.
Mozambique, thank you very much. Please go ahead. The world is listening. We know your name, Obilo from Mozambique. Now ask your question, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is like this. My leader, these our people are working for the Nigerian government, like military and police and other things. This to our people now. Are we going to these people to work there?
No, if you can work for them all you like, but if you join them to come on a patrol, you die down. You can be in the army all you like. Killing them, they keep 20 of them today. As I told you, that they will ambush them and they will kill them. They will take them to the north. They will set up ambush. About 5 or 6 days ago, I said that they have the video now of them who are serving in the army to the north. And I said it 5 days ago that they will kill them. And has it not happened this morning? Go and check. They've killed 20 of them this morning. That is conservatively speaking. 20 are dead. You stay. You join them to come and do any raid, and you will kill you, you will die there. Take a hawk. I don't know what is wrong with them. They don't listen. As I said, is this culture after the war of fear, this very culture of trepidation, this culture of a leadership run by charlatans. That's what it's given birth to. In anywhere else in the world, it's just like saying to anyway, I wouldn't give examples before. It's just like saying that an Irishman should serve in the British Army and occupy Northern Ireland. That doesn't make any sense. They must understand what they are doing. They must understand it. And thank you very much for your call. Your point is well noted. The caller on the line, can you please? Go ahead. Another question?
From Cassava.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead then. Very quickly, please. Go ahead. Very, very quickly.
Yeah. The question, another question that I want to ask, because some of our people say that they don't want to join the IPOB here in Mozambique, but they want to support. Are we going to them anything that to contribute? They are ready to contribute, but they cannot join the IPOB. I don't know. How can we treat these people?
No, they can. People, as I said, is this culture mindset of fear over the years. They said now, when you wake up is your morning. You can wake up around 1 p.m. in the afternoon or 2 p.m. The first thing you do is that you will go to the loo and you brush your teeth and you wash your face. That is your morning. You do the same thing that somebody did when they woke up around 7 a.m. as well. So whenever they decide to wake up, it's entirely up to them. But for now, whatever support or assistance they are willing to give from the back, you accept it from them. Because they are not as we are. We are a select few. IPOB was chosen to do this very job. That is why we are brave. That is who we are. That is why the whole world understands what we are pursuing, and we are not apologizing to anybody for it. Not everybody can be like us. You and I are very special. The rest of the IPOB family all over the world are very, very special. Those who understand what we are doing. Not those who have that their names may be known and they start opening a bank and start to do one form of fraud. I mean, those who are chosen. So allow them to do or to participate in however limited way that they want. But we know we are at the forefront, at the coalface of this very battle, and that is where you belong and that's where you will be. Don't look at them. Don't let people's behavior determine for you how you respond to Biafra. Never. Be your own person. Be your own woman, be your own, and do what Elohim have asked you to do. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very, very much. Today is far more previous. The quality of calls today is immense, and I very, very much. I have another caller on the line. If this caller can be a little bit patient, I can get them on speaker. The caller on the line, please give us your name and where you're calling from, please. For the last time, the caller on the line, your name and where you're calling from, if you may. It says they are reconnecting. I don't know if they come back to us. We will be able to take their call. Calls are always unbelievable. How many missed calls do we have? Heaven knows. It's just too plenty. Unbelievable. The finest radio station on the face of this very planet Earth. The whole world is listening. Humanity is paying attention. The world is listening. That is why we are who we are. Very formidable. and unstoppable at that. I have another caller on the line. Can you hear me, please? Your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, I can hear you.
Please.
Thank you. You finally...
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me a second? Let me just pull up my questions.
Please, first, your name and where you're calling from.
Okay. My name is Ifomambag. I'm actually calling from Australia. I'm from Oporo.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay. My question now, I have so much... I know we have limited time, so I don't know how many questions I'm allowed to ask, but...
If you can cram them into 2 minutes, then you can ask as many as possible, but it has to fit within 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so how can we conquer the Fulanis and other foreign terrorists from Africa, Middle East, and Europe? Like when I mean Europe, like the colonial masters to Nigeria, not Biafra. So that when we get Biafra, we won't be under any threat.
Now hold on to that question. I'll do again for the other questions you have. Let me answer this. We are not going to conquer them. What we are going to do is that we are going to defeat their ideology. And the best way of defeating their ideology of superior Europe and inferior Africa is by doing what we are doing now, education and enlightenment. We must remind ourselves of our proud heritage, our proud history, who we are, what guided our ancestors, why we were created God Almighty in the first place, and the purpose for which we exist, and the fulfillment of that purpose for which we have come. These are the things you must bear in mind. Consistency is the key. I call it discipline and application. Consistency. You don't move from that position you know is right. That position which is freedom. That position that existed before the white man was even created. That vision that said that Biafra must be, you anchor on it, you hold on to it, come rain or sunshine, morning, noon or night, regardless of what the Fulefus are doing, what they are writing, what saying, regardless of the machinations of the workers of iniquity to deflect your attention, you hold on tenaciously to the truth. That is what will set you free. Truth. Hold on to that truth. And the truth is very simple. That God created every man. That the white man is not superior to you. The only reason why the whites are superior to blacks is because of the way they reason. They allowed light to shine upon their reasoning process. That is what we are doing with IPOB, Radio Biafra, to make our people to reason like human beings. And they can never come in. Let me give you an example. Let's say we make you the female head of state, the first head of state of the land.
Amen.
And there will be a plot against you. People will plot to kill you. People will plot to overthrow you. A white man is not going to come from England to come to Iguacha, our capital, or to go to any capital of the Igbo nation to go and say, hey, come, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do something against you. No. They will use our people. They will always use somebody who is close to you, either to poison you, to kill you, to ruin, as they did to Thomas Sankara, and as they did to what's his name, Patrice Lumumba in Zaire, and as they've done to many other people. They always use you to kill yourselves. They always use traitors. They always promote traitors and saboteurs to do their dirty work for them. Now, listen. In Biafra land, we are going to build our security system to be loyal to the ideal of the state. Now, listen, there's a difference. When you train people to be loyal to the ideals of the state, that means they serve the constitution of the country. Our police, our secret police, everything, our intelligence services, you are serving the constitution. And the constitution says that whoever is elected in power for 4 years, the only way you can remove them is through the National Assembly if they have committed high crimes and misdemeanors. And this woman hasn't done anything wrong. Now, listen, it is the job of the army, the police, the secret service, and everybody else to protect you, regardless of their interest, to protect you in power until you finish the work you're doing for your people. Now, that is the difference between a civilized nation in Africa and a very backward one. Because let me tell you what happens. Let's say you are our president and they go to your deputy or they go to the foreign minister and they promise them a house in Paris or maybe a flat in London. They say, we'll give you a mansion in Dubai. Go to your land, plot a coup to disrupt what is happening in your land. And you agree. And let me give you an example, like Nzogu did. Nzogu was very foolish and very naive. I say it live on air. Nzogu is a revolutionary, but he was very naive. He didn't know that the British were using him. The reason why Britain instigated Nzogu and Co to carry out a coup and install, as they are promising the presidency to install as the president, was to stop the nominal economic growth of the East under Dr. Michael Opara, but they didn't see it coming. Do you understand? They never saw it coming. Nzogu and Co never knew that the reason why Britain instigated them to carry out a coup, knowing fully well Fulani reaction, was to stop the economic growth of the East. Because as I said earlier, Dr. Michael Opara had the fastest growing economy in the world, 51% every year. In the whole world, the fastest growing economy on the face of the earth was in Biafra before 1966-67. So that tells you everything you need to. So let's say as you are now, Australia Secret Service will meet you. Oh, this thing, you're supposed to, they start by saying, oh, you're very intelligent, you're supposed to be the leader. When the Kanu be there, why don't you do something? You know, he's this. That's how they get into you. And then they start to advance you some payments. And then you turn into a saboteur when you're working against the interest of your own people. In Biafra land, right from kindergarten, we are going to teach our children how to protect our national interest. It's called civics. From kindergarten, we will teach them how to protect our national, as they do in Japan. That way, no idiot from anywhere can meddle in your way of life. Do you have another question, please? Go ahead.
Yes, sir, please. Okay, so thank you. I'm not going to... So the next one is, what will be the fate of these foreign oils, like, let's say, Shell, Chevron, Schlumberger, that are actually in Nigeria? Because I believe that they contribute to the high rate of unemployment by employing their own citizens instead of our own citizens, like graduates. Even because if you notice, there are some of our people who actually studied abroad and they came back home, maybe, like, let's say, in UK, they were actually sent back home after their studies because they can't really grant them PR and they have to come back home. And those people actually have that skills, right? So what will be the fate of like this foreign oils? Like, for example, my husband actually told me something. He said he met with this because he's a doctor, he met with this patient of his. He's actually a Caucasian. So he said he wanted to go to Pakistan, right? But he was declined. It wasn't a visa to go work there. But whereas in Africa, they actually treat him like expatriates. This guy, this Caucasian, is actually a mechanic here. But he was treated on a high level like in Nigeria. So how are we going to treat this oil, like these foreign oil companies, because they contribute to the high rate of unemployment? That is how when we get our Biafra.
Then I will answer your question by making a very simple reference. Go and look at how Saudi Arabia control oil and their gas. That will tell you. But I'm also going to say this now. The economy will aim for zero carbon emission economy. The type of investments I would like from the USA is not the likes of Mobil or Chevron, as powerful as they think they are. I would like people like Tesla, cars that run with solar energy. The same thing that Saudi Arabia is doing, because I watched a clip where they said, despite being the largest oil producer in the world, that they're looking to the future. The future is no longer about oil. There will be no oil in the future anymore. Even if there are to be oil in the future, I don't believe that Biafran economy will be based on the export of oil and gas. Look at the pollution in our land and what it's causing to us. So with all due respect, all these monstrous and huge companies, every existing contract will be honored. We will honor every contract that is existing, but they have to operate under our rules, employ our people, be environmentally responsible, and do what is right. The same way they operate in the USA is how they're going to operate in our land. Any quack, any idiot they are sending to us who may be an ordinary mechanic but will want to be regarded as an engineer back in our land, that will not happen. And if there is any job a Biafran can do, a Biafran will do it. There will be no foreign expatriate in that very position. It's as simple as that. God gave them brain. God also gave us brain. If we develop our brain and think fully, then we should be able to do everything that they're doing. That is why they understand our pedigree. They understand how resolute, they know how intelligent, how determined, they know how resourceful we are. That is why they're up against us. And they know that the BIAFRA will be different. Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir. Please, just one last question, please. Please, I'm just going to summarize this.
Go ahead.
Okay, if now the government the Nigerian government are ready to break up, like ready to grant the BIAFRA request, right? What about this issues like our governor on Southeast? What about if they now, like you said in your last broadcast, like they were ready, there was a time they were ready to grant us what we did, right? But it was our governors, like governors from Southeast, who actually refused and tagged IPOB as a terrorist, right? So what will happen? How will they be to handle this sabotage, just to avoid the mistake of what happened during the 1960s, like during the Civil War? I don't know if you understand what I mean. Like,
I do. Those of them
who actually delayed it.
They are criminals. Those of them that will survive it will be tried and jailed in Biafra land. As I said earlier, those like Joey Boko in the psychiatric hospital because you can see that he's not well. There's a difference between a traitor who knows what he's doing and one who's, should I say, a psychiatric case, who has an imbalance in the brain. So if somebody is doing sabo job because they're not well mentally, you can maybe forgive them, put them in a mental home. But anybody who consciously rose up to, should I say, undermine what we are doing will be tried, jailed, because it's high treason and will be hanged for it in public, for that matter. They will not go free. That I can assure you. I said it before. I swore and I said that instead of one sabo to be alive, to enjoy Biafra that we're going to build, let them not come. They won't survive it, and no matter where you are, you can be in Argentina, you can be in Russia, you can be anywhere. Once you are a saboteur and you came out against this very struggle, then you are finished. You never came out against Fulani killing you. Never came out as Kalokai in the north. You never came out when they stopped you from voting. I don't even know if the Fulefus actually understand these things. They said one Oba in Lagos said he would throw us in the lagoon. Went to polling stations in Bauchi, in Kaduna, in Abuja, Lagos to burn our ballot boxes. Britain saw these things. EU saw it. And they want us to be part of one Nigeria. They are mad, they are insane. Thank you very much, my dear sister, for calling. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for your call. Thank you. These are, they said, who are those even in IPOB? Who are they? They are medical practitioners in Australia. The caller on the line, can you hear me? Turn the system down, please. Can you hear me? Yes. Madam, your name and where you're from, please? Your name and where you're calling from. Your line is, I can hear you. I want to allow you to speak. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm coming from India.
From India. What is your name?
My name is Uche. I'm from Haji.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead. From India.
Yeah. My question is, since the British were and introduce currency that we are using today called pounds.
Yes.
Yes. And before they were using cowries.
Yes.
But if we get are we going to use the same British currency, or are we going to introduce our cowries, which is ego iron?
No, we are going to be like every other person. We are going to have our own currency. It will not be called a pound. Isn't it very funny? It's a good thing, my dear sister, this point you raised. Isn't it very funny that the people that hated us so much, Ojukwu actually paid £1 to the British pound, also called it pound as well. You see, can people now actually see the way that Britain ate into our brain? That even when they are killing us, we are still using their currency, pound. Unbelievable. That is to show the type of people we are. We are open-minded. Why Britain hates us is is their business. Why prices is entirely up to them. I don't know. Now, to answer your question, we are going to go back to having our own currency. It won't be called pound. It won't be called dollar, but it will be pegged to the dollar, of course, because of exchange rate fluctuations and other class of George Soros, people who speculate on currencies, people who run it down. They will come to you and tell you to devalue your currency because they've hedged their bet on your currency going down. That was how George Soros in one afternoon made $5 billion in front of our eyes. I saw it. Nobody told me. George Soros was a very wealthy man before. This multi-billionaire now that is going all over the place playing God. George Soros was an ordinary currency trader in London. During the Black Wednesday, I think that was in 1990, I can't remember anymore, 1996 or 1997 in the UK, when Norman Lamont was the then Chancellor of the Exchequer. It was called the European Exchange Rate Mechanism. You know what they did? Britain said they will not be part of the ERM in Europe. In other words, the pound was allowed to float outside the ERM. And speculators led by George Soros, they got together to have a run on the pound. Do you know what they do? Currency speculators? It's ordinary gambling. Gambling. George Soros put a lot of billions. He bet that this pound will be put on them. They told all their friends all over the world they had a run on the pound. Everybody started to sell their pounds. That even if not for the intervention of Elizabeth, who held a dinner with the Sultan of Brunei, the Sultan of Brunei wanted to pull out his investments in pound and put it in dollars. The Queen invited him for dinner, had dinner with him and convinced him to leave his investments in pound. That was what saved the pound. The pound was run out of the ERM. And because George Soros bet money on it, he was paid £5 billion as a result. That was when he became a billionaire. Now, listen to me very carefully. What we are going to do is this. We are going to have our own currency, but it's not going to be based on paper. We'll try to minimize paper. The world has moved on. There are cashless transactions. Everybody will have their own card with which to make payments. All over the world, people are moving to cashless. Nobody carries cash anymore, but our own currency will be called a gemma, which is the currency of the Asians. A gemma will be called no pound, no dollar, no nothing. We are who we are. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you. We have another on the line. I don't know if this caller is agile and able. Can you hear me? On the line, can you hear me? No. I said the caller on the line, can you hear me? Turn your system down. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Please, your name and where you're calling from. Hey, can you hear me? Maybe it's the network. I wanted to speak to him. Very, very desperately, I wanted to speak to him. We have another caller on. This caller, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? The caller on WhatsApp, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Director.
Hey.
Good morning. My name is Chizoba. I'm calling from Denmark.
Chizoba, is it a male or female name?
Oh, no, it's a female. It's both female and male name. It's both female and male name.
Chizoba, thank you very much. Please go ahead. The world is listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think I want to just say something concerning the dead people that died in Enugu 21.
Yes.
I want to tell our people, particularly those in diaspora. If you know you are in diaspora, Director, please pardon me. I'm going to use a coded language.
Please go ahead.
Please, if you know you are in diaspora, you must learn how to play.
Yes.
You must learn how to play music. If you don't know, if you have the people of wherever you are staying, you have a quality, please go and tell them that you want to join reserve. Go to where those people that, where they are, those people that wear green, tell them you want to join reserve. From there, you will learn how to play music. And if you don't have quality, you have a ton of moving out and coming in, that kind of thing. Please go to YouTube. Learn how to play music. There are different instruments in the YouTube there. You can see we have different AK, different AK, different one, and we have other type of one too. Learn how to play music. If you are from the old Eastern region, the Fulanis do not understand peace, go in peace. They don't. You only know how to play music. And it is not a crime too if you learn how to play music. Those in the Zoom, please do not spend your data in Facebook alone. Go to YouTube and learn how to do anything, how to mixture. That when we do it, when you throw it, because the fireworks, it gives you a better beautify that place. Please, we should take away fear from our body. It is only once that person will. Let me tell you, everybody in this world will die. Except few that God said they will not die. Everybody will die. It is better you die as a honorable man than dying as a chicken, little chicken. No! Take away the fear from you. It is better before you die, you at least 2 go down, 3 go down, 4 go down. You die as a honorable man. If you're my husband, I will say yes. You die as a honorable, and I will give you a befitting burial. Please take away the fear. How can 3 people, three riffraff, hold your people? You be giving your key. Okay, what is wrong with our people? Take away the fear from you. Learn how to go over. Learn how to go over. This is for those of you who are in this, who understand. Be combat ready. Learn how to do mixture. Anyhow, you bring this guy, you bring that guy, you point you, give you a nice flavor. You cannot just like that, you'll be killing you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, everybody keep quiet, or kill it. You want us, so they want to wipe out the whole eastern region, and they will not come. These people have one head. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody should learn how to use any kind of music. We have different kinds of music. Go to YouTube, you'll see it. And now we need very good people that can take a sniper. You know what that means? Whenever you are about 1 kilometer, you can just throw the sniper. The person you're getting targeting will just go down. This is what the zoo understand. I am telling you people, this is what the zoo understand. I have seen different kinds of rioting. I grew up in the north, I went in the north. I have seen different kinds of. They do not understand peace. Until the Igbos in north started retaliating. And the moment they see how we are throwing fireworks,
they stopped.
They came back. They stopped. They started saying one Nigeria.
Yes, now, of course.
Let me tell you people the story of that. Please, just one minute. I want to tell you people the story. The Telangana in India is a small community, about 4,000 community. They were being oppressed by the feudals. These feudals, they have they impose heavy tax on them, and they have weapons. So they were being oppressed. At the time, they said no, they cannot take it any longer. The 4,000 villages, they all go, and why the bit of their revolution, the sources of it was that they all learn how to play different kind of local things, and they take up these people. At the end of the day, they were able to win. They only lost 4,000 men. That is each one person died in one village. 4,000 village. They only lost 4,000 men. It is time to stand up. Stand from there. Then it is only once you will die. Only once. And that is it. Stand up. If these people see when God is saying your eye don't work, you see what it is, that's what will happen tomorrow, make it happen today. They go run away. I tell you, these people, they are very scared. That is why they come in the midnight and go and chase, kill after unarmed people, women, pregnant women and children. They cannot stand. Have you ever seen have you ever heard that the Fulani won any war? Have you ever heard that they won anything?
They have not won any war. It is terrorism they use. They terrorize you, and they bring cowards as your leaders. That's how they defeat you. They have never won any war. Never.
They have never. If they have won a war, why is it that they couldn't win the Boko Haram? They have never won any war. Even the Biafra war, it was the Britain missionaries them.
It was British
people that fought for them. My mother told me the thing. My father was a veteran. My father, before he died, Ogenidi, he's the only son. He has not even gotten. He was not married. So even there, his mother was holding. He said no, and he went to the war and he fought. He got injured. Then he came back. He went to to the wall and fought. Take away fears, BIAFRAs. Take away fears. Even we were not born as a coward. BIAFRAs, we are not born as a coward. That is why every seven after when you were born after 7 days, you are circumcised with knife. Pierce through your hair.
With knife. What it is? With knife.
We have seen it. We have seen it. Bring that fear away that fear from me and bring that fear bravery into your heart. To not give it the kind of good in your.
They are not. I blame Ohanes and the stupid idiots that call these animals their leaders. They are the ones I'm blaming. And I went to court inside Abuja. I said to Buhari when he was under, he's a madman inside his court. I said to Buhari, you're a madman. You cannot jail me inside this court. And the whole world was able to see it because they are nothing. They only come at night. They come with their hillocks. They snatch you in the middle. They are cowards. They are cowards. They cannot do anything. When I look at this present crop of and these idiots, and they bow down before a janjaweed, I weep, I shed tears. I'm telling you the truth. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they are.
Physically, these Fulani people are not strong. They are not strong people. Physically, because they have this sickness that have to do with blood or something. That is why you see all of them scream like that. They are not even strong people. And that is why they always want to romance the military. So my people, learn how to play music. Music. I mean, if you are in Biafra and you have car, you don't even have any car with you. Man, oh, you F up.
Thank you.
Don't do well.
Thank you, my dear sister.
My brother, Director, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you see why Biafra is a motherland? Do you see why? Do you see why it's people don't understand what we do, what we say. We say, there are things we see in the spirit that mortals cannot see. That mortals cannot see. You cannot be afraid of this. They've been killing us before in Enugu, killing us everywhere. We kept quiet. But now we're saying, come. In the open, come. If our fathers that did not have the privilege of going to MIT was able to build a Bunigwe, imagine what we can do now. Doctors, scientists all over the place in IPOB. Imagine what we can do. Do you think I'm relying on Britain to give me arms? Do you think I'm relying on importation of arms? You're sick in the brain. There is nothing we cannot manufacture in our land. And I'm saying to them, I'm waiting for DSS to start their so-called arrangement, let them come. The story they will tell me worse than what's happening to them in Enugu. Worse. They think it's before gentleman. Don't do violence is violence is not good, but you are there for violence and terrorism in my village, killing every blessed day. In fact, you are asking me to preach. Any idiots that comes to me to preach, God will punish all of you idiots. When Fulani brings their terrorism and their violence, you don't say a word. When I say something, you start talking rubbish. They will see something. We have started. And by the time we are done, there will be no Fulani Caliphate. I swear to God in heaven. This thing that Fulani will chase them back to Futajalon, there will be no Fulani Caliphate even in Sokoto. Men are going to die, I assure you. Men will die. Fulani cannot even... How will take over the land in Sokoto? Who are these idiots? Who are these fools? That every monkey is afraid of. Ohanese, shaking like children, shaking like idiots. You call yourself leaders. Your children are being killed. You can't say nothing. You are being beheaded in the north. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What sort of God made you people? Our mothers rose and fought in 1929. Our mothers were even looking after their husbands in 1947 and they were killed. They did nothing. Power belongs to our women, I'm telling you the truth. I remember when my mother used to go out on protest in the open. All these idiotic governors will call her, she tell them to get out, don't come here. I remember when Osakali came to my house with his entourage. My mother said, I don't want any army or police here in my compound with their guns. Then chase all of them away from my compound. Mad people, they don't know who we are. They think we're going back. I love it. When we started, they are miscreants. They are thugs. They want money. Give them money and they will go away. And they have come to scam over the years. And they are feeling the heat gently. Gently, then they now understand how serious, how determined, how dedicated we are. They now know. And I said to somebody, it's just like losing dignity. It never comes back. Once you force us to go this way, there is no return. They know that very well. They know that very, very well. Sister, thank you very much for that. I hope our men can understand. You are abroad, go and join the reserve force of each country you're in. Go and register with their army. Join them. And pray for our brave men on the ground. They are doing very well. They are doing very, very. I want the people going to start example with this TSS. They have been begging for it for very many years. The day BBC and CNN will talk about is because of what we do to TSS. Then the BBC will carry our news by force. Let me go and take this call. The caller on the line, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? The caller on the line, can you hear me?
Yes, Mazi, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name and your question, please. Your name, where you're calling from, and you go to your question, please.
Mazi, my name is Okeram Chile. I'm calling from Greater Noida, India, this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Mazi, actually, I don't really have a question, but I want to dive more on the issue of fear. Because even here in the diaspora, we are professing the same thing. There are also people that, not that they are saboteurs, not that they don't understand what we are doing, but some of them go so by fear. You understand? They are filled with fear, and that is part of the problem, right? Yeah, and one thing is certain: there's no way you can accomplish when you're afraid.
But this fear never used to be enough. We never used to have this fear. As a people, we were very, very brave. People who stood up and spoke the truth always. I don't know where this culture of immediately. I don't know if it is after the war. That defeatist mentality just came in, and our people became cowards overnight. Men who would normally stand up and speak the truth, no matter whose ox is God, they have now become livered cowards all over the place. This fear. And it transcends to their children and to their children's children. Now we have a generation of cowards who now have graduated into civil war. That's what they do. Because they are cowards. Only a coward can be a saboteur. Once you are a coward, you want to dine with the enemy. You want to look for the easy way out. We have chosen to do this the hard way, not the easy way. And that hard way is giving us the result of our freedom. Thank you very much. We are not going to be cowed by cowards who claim all they want is leadership, who is going to contest. I don't know where this breed came from. I have no idea which part of the planet Lucifer threw them into BIAFRA from. I have no idea. These bunch of idiots everywhere, both in the diaspora and at home. Idiots and cowards. Born and fathered by a wretched Janjaweed. They think it's before you come, you kill the girl. And we complain, we cry. They have killed us. We write to Amnesty. We write to you, and nobody's talking to us. Now you will talk about us. You will talk about us. So come and kill now. Come and kill. We are asking you, come and shoot on armed people. Come. We are now begging you to come. Come and kill. And you see what will happen to you. Come now and kill. You see what will happen to you. Fools everywhere. The caller on the line, can you hear me, please? Your name and where you are, if you may.
Good morning, Nnamdi, Kanu.
Good morning.
My name is Chukwudi. I'm calling from Vienna.
From Vienna, please go ahead.
I just want to say that the issue of fear, knowledge drives away fear. When people know the ideology driving those who are coming at them, it will make them understand more, because people won't see you as inferior in a certain way because they call you inferior. And it's something that's like those of the Caucasians, or you pay attention to say, who came and give people a derogative name like nigger area and things like this. It's the similarity. This is why they could work together to oppress certain people. So if our people should go into knowledge of everything. Our people, one time I was reading the Quran, as a friend was scared of it. I said, knowledge is very important, because I remember even when I even wrote you, but of course you have a lot of messages when Asari was swearing with the Quran. In Quran there is something called takia. This is the thing that gives them allows them to lie, to deceive the so-called enemy or infidel. So when we know the jihadist mentality, it makes our people to understand, even sometimes when they say they come with peace and they will strike. And if we go into
one Nigeria, let's fight for unity. Meanwhile, they have 6 terrorist groups. 6. The same you're telling me about one Nigeria is funding Boko Haram. The same you're telling me about one Nigeria is funding Ansaru. The same you're talking about one Nigeria, let's live in peace and harmony and move the country forward. They are the ones funding Yetiala. These are the idiots. When they talk about their useless unity, some of these morons and the idiotic governors, they buy into it because of what they can get for themselves and their families. And we will not forgive them. I'm telling you, because look at what they are doing. Look at what they are doing. They have allowed people to instill fear in them. From there, they have transmitted that fear into the populace. From there, we now have endless supply of cowards all over the world. Every idiot is now a coward. But I thank you for IPOB. I thank God for IPOB and for Radio BIAFRA. We have now truly changed the narrative. All that fear, all that garbage is gone. We are now facing our enemies wherever they want to beat us with. In Biafra land, let me see what BBC will say when they start to, they themselves also feel the heat. CNN will cover it and let us hear what they're going to say. They think they have money, they think they have influence, they think Britain can save them. Britain cannot save the Fulani. Britain can never ever save you. I swear they cannot save you, because Britain cannot kill every Biafran on this very earth. They cannot do it. And that is why we are going to win. Because what propels us is stronger than what motivates them. For us, our obligation is to the dead. You know what that means? Our loyalty is to those who have served and died and not to the living. And as long as you can get to the dead, as long as you cannot get the dead to change the mind of those who are living, so are we determined and set in our ways to restore Biafra. Every idiot, every bagger, every entity, every dwelling of Sifa must crumble before us. I say it before I do it, so that when we do it, the world will know how serious we are. I thank you very much, Deborah. Thank you very, very much. We are relentless, we are resolute, we are determined that the end Biafra will come and all the enemies of Biafra will be hanged. That I can assure you. On the line, can you hear me? The caller on the line, I have you. Can you hear your name and where you are, please?
My name is Obina Ashubu. I'm calling from Warri.
From Warri, please go ahead. Raise your voice for us. Don't be afraid. Raise your voice. Nothing will happen to you. Obina from Warri, raise your voice and speak the word. Listen. Go ahead.
Mazi, I want to ask you 2 questions, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, the first question is because I'm from Enugu. My parents are from Enugu. The first question is this. They do collect land from people in Enugu that is from government to do dam or stuff like that. And for like 2 years or 3 years, they will not be doing anything. They will just take the land. You can't take the land back. You know? So what I'm asking, if Biafra comes, will those land be given back to farmers?
Every land that is taken from our people will be handed back to them, because in our land where we come from, land doesn't belong to government. And in Biafra land will not belong to government either. All this land used to create this garbage, land belongs to the people of that very place. People are indigenous to that very place. Every land stolen, taken, confiscated by this present bunch of how can I put it? Should I say, you can't even reform them. Every land by this bunch of criminals will be returned to our people. Will be returned, or compensation paid. Adequate compensation paid. Biafra is going to be a land of the free. Even the poorest man in the village, his or her interests will be protected. Because in a land where you're not going to have siren, people using siren, people saying, commerce, ministers will be going to work on public transport. So where are you going to do your big man? Whose land are you going to collect? When everybody is equal before the Lord and before God in heaven. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. All the land stolen will be returned back to our people. They must understand that we are not going to run a government of gangsters. Biafra land will be governed by the rule of law. Because to start with, the police will not carry guns anyway. There will be no guns. The military you cannot see. The Biafran army, in fact, if you see them, you start celebrating. Because you can't see them, they'll be in their barracks, they'll be at the borders, making sure that Fulani, Janjaweed, terrorists do not come in. That will be nothing like Mieti Yala in Biafra. Nothing like that rubbish. That is their job. You can't see the army, and the police is unarmed. So who are you going to intimidate? The judge is going to give bad ruling. Which judge, I ask? Not in Biafra land. Because our legal system will be trial by jury. No one idiot can determine the guilt or innocence of anybody. It will be a jury of their peers. Let ordinary people decide. People don't know what happens in store for them in Biafra land. Once we come out with our obligation, everybody will beg to become a Biafran. That I can assure you. That I can assure you. Let us go to the line and take this call. I have a caller on the line. Your name and where you are, please. Your name and where you are. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to be afraid. You don't have to be, please. The caller on the line, can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Please, your name and where you're calling from. You go straight to your question, if you may.
Yeah, my name is Wachuku Justice. I'm from Imo State, Biafra land.
There is nothing like Imo State. Where do you come from? Where is your hometown, please?
Okay, I'm from Isulugo government.
Thank you. Amando, nice people. Where are you calling?
I'm calling from Germany, sir.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Sir, before I commence on my question, I want to hit a few points. It's about the killings that have been going on in Biafra land, and to be precise, this very one that happened 2 weeks ago in Emene. I've been watching to see if any of our government will come up and condemn this killing publicly, but none of them come up. Like, none of them was bold enough, not even the ministers, not even the lawmaker, except Senator Baribe and one other person who happened to resign as a result of the killing. So, but our governments, our governors, the people, our number one citizens in the state, none of them come up publicly to condemn this killing. And this seems that they are really in support of what is going on. They are really honoring their masters, the Fulanis. So, what I want to say is, I've heard a lot of saying that the Igbos, the reason why they don't have the support of our because we are rebellion, we are not respecting them, things like that. When an elder is not living up to is not living up to expectation, then the child have to correct him or her. So my question now is, what are we doing, or what are we going to do in order to address? Like, we have to hold our people accountable, especially our governors, because the Fulanis cannot enter our land if the governor does not permit them. So it is the governors that give them this the privilege, that giving them the enablement to enter our land and persecute our people. And there was something that happened years ago in Russia when I think a week to the eve of Russian election, there was something President Putin said when he was unveiling his new arsenal. He made a comment that they have been calling the attention of the global to see them as a global power also, but nobody wants to listen to them. But now that they have to listen. You know why? Because he have adopted a new strategy. He unveiled new weapon, and this very weapon caught the attention of the world. Everybody was scared, even America. Now everybody went talking about Russia. Now they are listening to Russia. So what I'm saying is, in essence, is what are we going to? Because we need to hold this people accountable. So in doing this, we need to strategize. We need to bring out a resolution how to go after this our government, how to make them to pay for everything they did to our people. Because we can't just sit down and allow them to run the government, run our land the way they want it, just the way the Fulani please. Because if you ask me, I'm not blaming the Fulanis, because Because if
I blame, my dear brother, please, I blame our people. I'm not blaming any Fulani. I blame Fulani when they use their army uniform and police uniform to come and kill and hope that Britain will cover up for them as usual. I blame the cowards in our midst, people who no longer speak the truth, people who are afraid of speaking the truth. They are the reason why the so-called leadership, the so-called political class, why they are in the pockets of the Fulani. And as somebody have said, that all these politicians you have, the citizen of Abaribe, they are all Fulani cows, because it's only cow that Fulani can control. They're all Fulani cows in government houses. And people support them. Some people follow them. And why they do, I have no idea. Of course, it's because of that same climate and culture of fear. That culture of fear. So if we don't get Biafra now, when they give birth to children, by the next generation, you will have more cowards than real brave Biafrans. And that will be the end of us. And we can't allow that to happen. We can never, ever allow that to happen. A country full of cowards. It can't happen. Not once we have come. And as we have said to them, write down what I'm saying this morning. In the next few months now, you will see headline news on CNN and BBC. Watch us. Headline. That thing they never wanted to talk about before, now they talk about it. Just give it a few more months. We'll be headline on BBC and CNN. Watch and see what is going on. The whole world talk about us by force. Because we kept quiet, the killings, arrests. Very soon, we will start with them. Anywhere they come to kill us, they will die. That's number one. Number two, there will be no checkpoints on our land. You watch and see what's going to happen. And there will be no armed robbery, there no kidnapping. If you are caught doing armed robbery or kidnapping, you will die. I'm telling you. We are going to remove the points, not because people can start doing armed robbery. And as I told you, but today, is there any cultism in Oba? Is there any cultism in Oba? No. The same way I should say that one day you will see there will be no more Sabo. So that an example with only one Sabo and the rest will learn. So all of you should be prepared. International condemnation, there will be pressure. All of you should be prepared for what is to come. Not people say, go ahead, we are with you. When the heat, starts coming from the enemy camp, then you back out. No. If you're saying we should go, you are with us all the way through. The world will complain about us, but you need to be mentally strong. Remember the 5 million they killed. Remember how they killed our mothers in 1929, how in 1947 they killed us. Remember Akaloka that they beheaded in the north. Remember all those that have died. Remember those massacred at Mpo. Remember all the dead. Remember the 28 that died in my house. You must remember all these people. Because the pressure will come for some of you to resist what we are doing. But if you stand very strong, we have won. Only the Fulanis have 6 terrorist groups, only them. And they're ruling the zoo. And the world has collapsed. They are not condemning the Fulani. So we must be very, very strong mentally for what is to come. And one day we shall hunt Sabo down. Even if you're living in Sabongeri, Sabo in Sabongeri will hunt you down. Wherever you are, will hunt you down. This nonsense is enough. Enough is enough. I thank all of you who have called this morning, especially our brothers who called, and our brothers from everywhere. All of you, your suggestions, your ideas are welcome. And I believe they are saying that this morning's program has been very, very illuminating, very exciting, and very, very educative. And we hope to keep it that way going forward. That is why, for those who don't understand what we are doing, BIAFRA is just another agitation. But we know what we are doing. We know that Nigeria never existed, that only a fool can call him or herself a Nigerian. People who are psychologically, mentally inferior. People who think that only a white man is the source of knowledge and enlightenment to them. To those idiots, we are saying to us that Biafra is a religion. And here on radio, Biafra is where we worship, because Elohim is our God until Sunday evening, because I'm coming live on air on Sunday evening. Until then, from me, from here, good evening. What should I say?
Special dedication to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian BIAFRA War and IPO families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian BIAFRA War in the thickness of the BIAFRA genocide. Hey, one man revived the vanishing hope to life. Let the great BIAFRA army to fight, and they were singing out, holy, 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 Lord of heaven, peace out of the Savior. They were singing out, holy, 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 Lord of heaven, peace out of the Savior. Holy, 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 Lord of heaven, peace out of the Savior. Many years after the genocide, whoa, yet another leader has risen up now. Oh, and it's leading the Biafrans to victory. In your magic, I think I can know. Hey, I know make a lemon to me for. It's an honor having you on board. When I get lost.